The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Hello, Lobo fans, and welcome on set of another Lobo Coaches Show, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzales is alongside. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, and Coach G, congratulations. You're 1-0 to start 2021.
Thank you. That's the goal every week, to go 1-0. We got it done. We didn't finish quite the way we wanted. We started fast, and we need to finish better, but the ultimate goal is to win, and we did.
Boy, the defense, unbelievable at the start of the game. And how about the way you guys exploded on the opening kickoff even?
You know, that was outstanding. I mean, causing a turnover, causing that ball in the air is what we're looking to do. I wish we would have got on it, because then we would have given the offense a short field from right there, and the two short fields we gave them, they scored. So that was a positive. And then this first series, Ray gets the interception. He had a chance to get two interceptions on the same drive. So it's good. He's a ball hawk. He's a good player, and that was the way to start the season.
Last week we talked about an incredible training camp on the road last year in Vegas, if you can even call it that. You actually had a real training camp this season. As you got to game week, what was the focus in preparation for HBU?
Obviously, we focused in on what they do schematically. It was more about getting our guys fresh. And maybe I made a mistake as a coach because I thought we got tired. I don't think we were in good enough shape to play the way we wanted to. So we worked on that a little bit yesterday. We'll continue this week. The anxiety of the first game plays into that a little bit. I mean, they were excited. The adrenaline of having people in the stands, the 16,000 people was awesome. I expect a lot bigger crowd this week, and hopefully that'll help with the conditioning as well.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask about, because you talked about the excitement that was building in your complex for your first home game as head coach. Your guys obviously didn't get to play at home all of last season. What was the feeling like when the team took the field? You know,
it was great. I mean, Joe Flores, a New Mexico kid from Volcano Vista, is the one who carried our New Mexico flag. It's a big deal to those guys. And I thought the crowd, the excitement was great when the band was out there on the field. I think there was two parts of our crowd that were great. I mean, the 16,000 on the west sideline looked really good. But our student section was awesome. I mean, there was almost 3,000 students there. They were packed in tight together, which, obviously our rule on campus is to be vaccinated, and if you're not, wear a mask. And I thought they did a great job, and it was a good crowd for the first game.
Speaking of students, the student athletes did a great job. I talked to so many of your players that were actually out on campus making sure that student tickets got into the hands of their classmates.
Well, I thought it was, I think it's important for our kids to be on campus. They all have to take campus classes that are on campus. They can't take all online. And I think that helps. I mean, when they become friends with those guys, they want to come support them. And we made it easier for the students on last Saturday. All they had to do is show up with their ID. They didn't even have to get a ticket. So I'm trying to push for that this week because of New Mexico State, but we'll see. But I thought it was a great turnout from the students.
Great turnout from the students. You loved how the West Grandstand was full. You're hoping both grandstands are full for New Mexico State.
Oh, I want that entire bowl full for New Mexico State. I mean, the end zone did a good job. I mean, I saw the sign with the North End Howlers. I mean, and that was pretty cool. We're going to start some traditions around here, and I hope it grows bigger this Saturday.
You know, the Howl Zone, too, you can feel it over there. I mean, that's something that's building as well, isn't it?
Oh, I think the tailgate lot was cool. I mean, there was 12 RVs that I counted when I pulled up. We came early in the day. There were RVs at 8 o'clock in the morning. I thought that was awesome. But the Howl Zone, where they dropped us off and walked through, the energy was really good. I think that's only going to get better. And as we win, it'll get even better.
I have no doubt that the energy for the build-up to the game is what fueled the Lobos at the start of the game, and you started so fast. Can there sometimes be a letdown after a start like that?
Significant. I think we wanted it to be easy. I mean, natural human reaction is things to be easy so that you don't have to work as hard. And that's not who we are. I mean, we're a blue-collar team that when we have an opportunity to keep going, we need to keep going. And we didn't do that. That was disappointing.
The offense looked so hot early. You said that you want to run the football better. Was that part conditioning, execution? What went into that?
Mostly execution. I thought the first two drives our offense drove the ball great. I mean, we were getting 5 or 6 yards of carry, and all of a sudden the play actions are a lot more wide open. When we stopped blocking them as well, I thought we got out physical a little bit in the second half, and nothing's going to work. So we need to be better assignment-wise and then be more physical.
You know, Bobby Cole, your number one running back, we know that he tweaked an ankle in a scrimmage at the end of camp. He told me he was going to be ready, but was he 100%?
I don't think he was. I don't think either one of our running backs ran the way we want him to. I think Bobby was a little hesitant. They were dancing too much in the hole, partly because his ankle was probably bothering him. I told him at halftime, look, either hit the hole straight ahead, or let's wait till next week, because all that dancing, you're going to get hurt. You're just giving them more time to tee off on you. And so we rode with Aaron in the second half, and he had some good runs, some bad runs, very similar to his very first spring scrimmage as a freshman. And so I expect her to be a great improvement this week from Aaron.
All right, we're going to take our first time out. When we come back, we break down first half highlights of the Lobos' 27-17 win over HBU. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Welcome back on your Lobo Coaches Show with head football coach at UNM, Danny Gonzales. I'm Robert Portnoy. Let's get to first half highlights of the Lobos' 27-17 win over HBU. Here's Joa Flores, a local product, bringing you guys out on the field, Coach.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I mean, they take a lot of pride in that. And then George, another Los Alamos kid, with the kickoff. And I thought this was a great physical play. I mean, that's how we want to play. Bodies are flying around everywhere. Now, there's a learning moment. Pat Peak needs to scoop that or get on the ball and cradle it, because you can't return that and score a touchdown. So that's partly coaching, that we need to teach him up better on that, because if he falls on that, we're going to get the ball at the 10-yard line.
So he's not able to recover that, but it sets you guys up on this first series to explode defensively anyway.
And there's an opportunity at a ball. I mean, guys running the ball. Corey Hightower had a chance to catch the tip off a raised tip. And then here it is on the third down. I mean, this was a really good read by Ray Lutele. He's a good football player. And here we go. You'll see him throw this ball up. I mean, we comment on everything. That's not what we do. Give the ball to the referee, celebrate with your buddies, and let's go. Let's get ready for the next one.
You know, I talked to Ray afterward, and he said, you know what, that's just me. A lot of emotion coming out. I've got to be better, but what a great play he made.
Oh, I think we were all very emotional at the beginning. And then how about the quarterback reverse throwback on the very first play? I was giving Terry a hard time last night. I was like, man, what were you doing? You were wide open. He goes, Coach, it happened way too quick. I mean, Trey was on top of me. And then whatever. Kind of funny. And then he finds Kyle Jarvis for that touchdown on the delay from the tight end. I mean, that was a great design by Coach Warheimer in the offense. And then great execution by the kids.
I watched these two plays practiced leading up to the game. I couldn't believe that they came out on the first series, but how open is Kyle Jarvis there, wearing a brand new number 5.
He did. We changed to number 5. He requested that, and I figured he worked out hard enough during the offseason and during summer camp that we gave it to him.
How about number 15, a true freshman, another local product, Luke Weissong?
I mean, that was a big play right there. If we block for him, we'll see significant plays like that. I mean, there's a nice job on third down and a big catch right there. But if we get some perimeter blocking for him, just like he did in high school, he'll make some big-time plays for us.
I was so impressed with his toughness too, Coach, because he got blown up on a couple of throws.
He did. It never wavered, never came out. I mean, he may have limped to the sideline, but he was ready to go right back in. Then what a fantastic catch right here, just the concentration. Terry threw it behind him a little bit. Tipped it up. I mean, he came in with the grab and set up Trace Buckler for his touchdown.
How about Trace Buckler moving to tight end and scoring in his first game as a Lobo?
I mean, that one it was not nearly as impressive as his catch later where he just runs over a guy. But Trace has a chance. I mean, he's really athletic. We can do some things with him, not only at the tight end position, but flex him out from the box, and he's going to be a special player.
Yeah, he's some kind of athlete, and when he gets stronger, man, oh man, what a tight end he's going to be. More defense here.
You know, Sire Riley did a really nice job. We had about 4 linebackers that were rotating on the night between him and Dion coming in off the bench would make that 5. I thought they did a really nice job being physical and setting the tone.
I think Sai's going to be a terrific player too. And I know that you thought that Manny Logan Green could be dangerous in punt and kick return. He showed it.
You know, all you need to get is a first down. I was a little disappointed in the 2 that he let hit the ground. We addressed that this week. I mean, if he's not going to catch them all, he won't be back there, and that'll be a bad thing for the Lobos.
So this is a very uncharacteristic play here for Andrew Erickson.
You know, we do a lot of ball security in practice, and I was really disappointed in this. I mean, we got to crossbar that and hang on to it, and we can't give the ball away. I mean, our offense only did it once. We gained 3 turnovers, but we want to lead the nation in turnover margin. You're not going to do it if you give it away.
I just cannot say enough about Langston Murray and what he is doing at the nose tackle spot.
I'm with you. He's powerful. He's done a really good job. He's done everything we've asked. And from where he came a year ago, I mean, I didn't see him being productive on this football team to where he's at now is outstanding.
You talked about their punter being maybe their best weapon.
Oh, I mean, just like that right there, putting the ball out at the 1, I thought it gave them a big advantage. I mean, this is right here. You can't cover a kick that's 3.3 in the air, and when we're getting blocked, I mean, I thought their punt return team was dangerous going in, and they proved it. And we've got to do a better job starting with the kick, and then we got to get out blocks and make tackles. We can't give up punt returns for touchdowns. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, that guy Thompson was scary the entire game.
We had a chance right here to keep him out of the end zone. If Tavion Combs, he's got to understand the way they're going to call the quarterback, because that was a great play by Omar right there on the sideline, touching his toes, keeping him in bounds. But we got a late hit on the quarterback, and we've got to understand that quarterbacks on the sideline, they're getting that call every time. I say that. We didn't get one later with Terry on the sideline, but you can't take that shot 9 out of 10 times. It's going to get called.
And it's such a harmless shot, too. He essentially just pushes him, but it still draws the flag.
It does, and drawing the flag, pushing him actually draws it more than if you actually hit him. And then they got called for a pick route right here. Jarek was in pretty good shape. You never see that call, so I was surprised they called it. To be honest with you, I wish they wouldn't call any penalties. Unless they tackle a guy or it's just completely absurd. But let that stuff go.
You guys, 5 sacks in all when it was all said and done, Coach.
There's Rico Hanna wearing number 44 right there, representing Brian Urlacher and coming off the edge. Gets to the quarterback. He got hobbled up a little bit at the end of the game, but he should be fine for Saturday. That was good to get pressure with those guys.
Yeah, we'll take a minute before the show is over to talk about the jerseys 44 and 42 appearing on your field this season. And here's that same guy, Manny Logan Green.
He's got some electricity to him when he's returning the ball. You get the ball out to the 42-yard line, it's going to give you a lot of advantage. Your chances of scoring go way up. And so he needs to continue to do everything right to be in those spots. And then how about this throw from Terry to Keontae? That ball's right on the money. All Keontae has to do is worry about not dropping it.
Unbelievable throw, and Lanier comes wide open. You have some true freshmen at the wideout position that look really dangerous, Coach.
Between Luke and Keontae, I think those guys can be some of the best receivers in this league. They have big playability. The thing that was the best about them on Thursday night, though, was they were willing to block you. We need to block a little bit better for Luke on those bubble screens, but I thought they did a good job. And those two young men, they take pride in it. They
do take pride in it. And I was so impressed with the fact that all the wideouts, we didn't see drops. It hasn't always been like that in recent seasons. This was a really good game from an execution standpoint along those lines.
A young man that I'm really proud of, Jace Taylor, he probably played the best of the wideouts and didn't catch one ball. Blocked his tail off, opened some holes up for those guys. If we can get that production across the board from that room, we have a chance to be pretty good on offense, especially in that room.
All right, we pause. Second half highlights next. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. We're back on your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with head football coach at UNM, Danny Gonzales. The Lobos on top of HBU, Houston Baptist, 21-10 at halftime. Let's break down the second half highlights with the coach.
We got off with a good start. This is a really nice play by Jake Saltonstall, and there's a lot of work into this because he had a bad habit of running past the quarterback last year, but that was a good job using his power and getting to the quarterback.
How do you teach, sort of the target point when there's a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop, and the shotgun and the pistol? It's kind of a moving target.
It is. It's all the depth of the quarterback, where he starts, and then how the lineman's set on you, so that they have a better idea of how they're going to take them on. And now, as you're watching these clips right here, this was my biggest disappointment. I thought Houston Baptist out-physicaled us up front on the offensive line, and then right there, there's a first game scenario where he caught the ball with his knee on the ground, no different than the Hawaii punter. You can't do that. We were going for it on 4th down when we got down there 4th and 2. Instead, we have to settle for a field goal attempt, and I thought Andrew did a nice job of kicking the ball on Thursday night.
Yeah, he was perfect, and it had been a long time since Andrew had gotten a lot of reps in a game. He was so successful 2 years ago, but what a start, as he obviously won the job at the very end.
Did a really nice job and performed well. We were going to mix it up between short kicks and long kicks, and George came in. He missed his long attempt with a little bit of rush on the time, but I thought Andrew kicked the ball nice, and George did a really nice job on kickoffs. There's their punter again, setting them up for down to the 2-yard line, which set up their second score, by the way. We need to get a first down or two as an offense to get out of there so we can kick the ball. It's a really nice catch by Keontae on 3rd down.
We talked about your offense coming out when you guys got pinned, and I know that's something that you want to improve on.
Oh, absolutely. We need to get a couple first downs so that we have room to punt the ball and then play good defense. Right there, you can see Terry Wilson. There's a little bit of an ankle giddy up right there. Normally, that's going to be a touchdown. Hopefully, we can get him rehabbed this week and have him ready to go for New Mexico State full speed.
Steinkamp handles kickoffs. We know that he's got the leg to bury those 50-plus yarders.
He does, and I probably called it a little too late for him to go out there and get set up, which makes a significant difference. Here we outkick the coverage a little bit. We got to do a better job of getting off blocks. The kick was far enough, we've got to do a better job of getting him on the ground earlier.
So HBU is starting to find its footing a little bit here in the second half, and probably gets more interesting than you'd like.
You know, Blake threw the ball better. I mean, they're getting ready to cut it here to 24-17, a one-score game. We get out of coverage right there by Jarek Reed, and they find him in the end zone. The big problem on the beginning of that play was we had an assignment error up front, not containing the quarterback. We didn't secondary contain, and that made Jarek indecisive. Now, I thought this was a big play. I'm not sure why they were running speed option at this point in the game. They'd been throwing it pretty well, but we had the play fit up very well. And then Dante Martin right here did a nice job of making sure this ball didn't go out of bounds. They couldn't review it. They didn't have a good enough angle to review it to see if he was out of bounds, and that worked in our favor because we fell on it, and that was a big turning point in the game.
We talked about on the air that it was very likely, or at least possible, that he was on the sideline as he was touching that ball, and of course then there would be no recovery. It worked to be a huge break for the Lobos, and then here you're able to finish the game off. Tavian Combs, just an unbelievable day.
Now I'm going to be a pessimist right here because that one right there, if he goes up and gets that ball at the high point, there's no question of whether or not this is an interception or a complete pass. And one of those deals, hand the ball to the referee, and there's no question. Now, here's our favorite formation. When you get to line up in victory, that means good things happen for the Lobos.
All right, before we take a break, Terry Wilson, your starting quarterback there, the transfer from Kentucky, making his first start as the Lobo. We talked about all his accomplishments at Kentucky, and you were like, you know what? I want to see the first tape in Cherry and Silver in a game that matters. What'd you think?
Well, when you start off 13 for 13, that's a pretty good start. I think he missed a couple throws in the second half. Combination of there was more pressure in his face. He missed a couple that he didn't see because he was kind of running for his life a little bit. And that's the challenge that I've made to the offensive line. Don't get out physical by anybody, especially the team that's coming up this week.
All right, the Lobos whip HBU 27-17 to start 1-0. We preview New Mexico State after this timeout. The Lobo Coaches Show is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Back to wrap up this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show with Danny Gonzales, the head football coach at UNM. I'm Robert Portnoy, and Coach G, before we put a ribbon on the win over HBU, I wanted to ask about one thing regarding the offense. Is this a testament to Coach Wareheim's offense, to the ability of Terry Wilson, to the number of weapons that he has this year to utilize as your new starting quarterback, but 11 different players targeted in the pass offense, 10 different players with a catch. That's impressive. How does that happen?
It was good for Thursday night. You'll probably see that dwindle down as we focus in on who makes the plays and who does what. It makes it really hard to defend if you've got that many options. There's just not that many balls that go around during a game normally. So Terry will get comfortable with a few guys. That's normally how it happens, and then we'll see how the offense develops.
Coach mentioned that because of Bobby Cole's ankle, the true freshman, who did get here for a spring camp and a fall camp, Aaron Dumas, got a lot of work, maybe even more than you thought he'd get. How did he look?
He was, like I said earlier, like the first scrimmage. I think it was a little bit fast for him. I think the lights were a little bit bright, but I think you'll see vast improvement between now and this Saturday.
And what is the step you would like to see the defense take this week coming up against New Mexico State?
We got to finish better. We can't get tired. We've got to be able to run to the ball. New Mexico State will try and go fast. We've got to finish better. I mean, that's what they're going to hear all week long.
All right, so New Mexico State has 2 games under its belt. They played week 0, and they certainly played a half at least against San Diego State. They're formidable. What do you see on tape from New Mexico State?
I see a lot better football team than we want coming up here. If you watch the UTEP game, there are 2 plays in the first half. They had an offensive lineman called downfield on a touchdown, and then they had a close call in the end zone, receiver, whether or not his feet were in bounds. If those 2 scores count, it's 20-17 at halftime. It's not 20-3, and you're looking at a completely different ball game. Now, UTEP kind of wore them out in the second half. Much like San Diego State, they were in the first half. I thought New Mexico State was the one that was setting the stage for the physicality of it. San Diego State came out in the second half. They scored in 4 plays right away, and I think much like what we're trying to change around here. I mean, New Mexico State had a little bit of, it went bad, and it got a little bit away from them before they started to stay in the game. So.
What can we expect from New Mexico State offensively? Is it still sort of an air raid derivation and throw it all over the yard?
Coach Martin does a great job. They do throw it all over the yard. They're probably about 78% pass, which, we didn't defend the pass well last year. So we'll see deep shots. I thought we defended the deep shot well on Thursday night. They took 3 of them, and we were okay on all 3. So we'll see. There's going to be nothing held back this Saturday.
All right, if you think there was emotion for the Lobos playing their first home game in a couple of years in University Stadium, how about after a year not getting to play the rival and you play them at home, hopefully in front of a great crowd at University Stadium, do you have to rein the emotion in a little bit, or you let it go at the beginning and then it settles in on its own?
Well, you know what? I can't stand those guys. I mean, they are our rivalry. And I mean, we've been playing this game since 1894, well before New Mexico was even a state, back when they were New Mexico A&M. So it's important around here. Our kids need to understand how important it is. We don't lose to those guys. I mean, it is something you just don't do. But I mean, as a player, my senior year we lost to them, and I still hear about it. And now I have some friends that actually went to New Mexico State, and I guess you can call them friends. They made a mistake, but that's okay. But I still hear about it. And so I want our guys to understand that if they don't want to hear about it for the rest of their lives, don't give them that opportunity.
I was impressed. The out-of-state guys understand the rivalry. How do you make that happen?
You know, being a part of it. I mean, you're going to see a great atmosphere on Saturday night. I mean, I'm counting on Albuquerque showing up with 35,000 people. They'll have their contingency, and it should be electric in there. And then the team that plays the hardest, the longest, is going to win. I assume that's going to be us. But when you assume things usually don't happen. So we got to prepare the right way so it is us.
You said you thought your team would be better conditioned for this game. You didn't have much time to make that happen. Just a few seconds left for us here. How do you think that'll work?
Well, we're going to have anxiety in the beginning of this game also. But I think the second game, I mean, the most improvement you see between game 1 and 2 is the most improvement you should see all season. Now, you should get better all year long, but we need to make mass improvement this week. The conditioning will be a part of it, and you can fix some of that in practice. So I think we'll be just fine.
Best of luck against the Aggies.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck to you.
That'll do it for this edition of your Lobo Coaches Show. Go Lobos!
Go Lobos.